Once again, it's your friend, Sizwe C. I want to welcome you to What They Do. What They Do. I want to take this time to apologize to a friend of mine. At What They Do, we're proud of the fact that we're not salacious. At least we don't attempt to be salacious. Sometimes people say some things, but we don't glorify that. But last week I had Papa Keith on, and we had a conversation that was difficult to have. I have to say that I don't ever try to misrepresent my friends on this platform, not just my friends, but my guests, right? The truth is, most everybody who comes on this platform is my friend. The nature of some of these clips can be a bit clickbait-able, for lack of better words. And I think a couple of the clips that I released were just that. And although it wasn't my intent, it isn't take away from the fact that some people may see those clicks or those videos as a misrepresentation of what was actually said. And for that, I apologize. Papa Keith is, again, more than a guest, but he is absolutely a friend of mine for a long time. And in no way do I want to misrepresent what it is that he says, right? So with that, I say, I apologize, Papa Keith, and I apologize to the community, because I want for people to come onto my platform, onto my show, and talk the truth about things that are not necessarily talked about. And if they lack trust in how they may be represented, then it does us no good. So again, I apologize, and on to another conversation. Now, you know what they do. What they do is a Miami slang where we say, what's up, what's poppin', what's going on? And so again, I affectionately say what they do. Yes, it's another week with another guest. Now, this guest is particularly important because he is an upstanding member of the community who's deeply rooted into community service. And he's also one of the founding members of what we affectionately know as Miami Carnival. Let's welcome Mr. Francis Ragoo. What they do?
What they do. Let me just say, I was not a founder member of Miami Carnival. I got involved from the second year.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So I don't want to misrepresent.
No problem. So the second year, which is pretty close to founding to me.
Yes.
But we'll take that second year.
Mm-hmm. The lone standing founding member right now, the Miami Carnival, is Ruthven Williams.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mr. Ragoo.
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing wonderful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I want to thank you for reaching out and coming to the What They Do platform. I think people like you give us some credibility, right? And it's really because of the history that you have here in South Florida. And what it is that you've been able to do. What I understand is you're the president of Crime Watch, the president of this other organization, the president of that organization. Why are you the president?
That's a good question. But before I go into that, let me say I admire what you're doing. I always sit back and look from behind, and I let my body of work speak for itself. But when I see good, I give compliment, because I always say to people that if you're going to critique or criticize, you must give compliment. And I truly admire, as I said to you, the manner in which you conduct your interviews, the questions you ask, the format in terms of what you're doing, and so forth. I really appreciate what you're doing. And
Thank you so much.
I say thank you.
I appreciate it. We absolutely appreciate it. We work hard, and we're trying to give the community a little bit more than than what we have, and I think the community absolutely deserves it. So
Correctly.
people like you and your foundation, what you bring, right? Because you bring a lot of history. And as we spoke earlier, I think it's extremely important that we talk about the history. The cliche, as I said, is you don't know where you're going unless you know where you come from. And maybe people don't want to hear that, but it's so important.
So I think in leading off that, the question is going to be, who is Francis Ragoo and what he do?
You damn right. Who is Francis Ragoo? Because, what's interesting is you have an interesting name, Ragoo, which is, from what I understand, an Indian name, East Indian.
Correct.
Right? So
my grandmother was East Indian.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about that. Who is Francis Ragoo?
Well, Francis Ragoo is Trinidadian by birth, born in this most southern part of the beautiful island of Trinidad, which is part of Trinidad and Tobago. The area is called Marak Village. It's the last stop. When you get to where I came from, basically you have to go back where you come from because there's no other place to go.
Wow.
It's the ocean and then it's back out. So there's not to go south, north. So when people say, in fact, I'm from south, I said, no, you're not from south. San Fernando is not south. San Fernando is south of Port of Spain, but it's not south of Trinidad and Tobago. Where I come from, that's south because we used to celebrate the landing of Christopher Columbus because that's where he made his entrance, and I participated in that as one of either the Caribou, the Arawaks, and so forth when we duplicate back then Discovery Day, which is now called Emancipation Day.
Okay.
So that's the most southern part there. So from there, then migrated and come to Florida. Came here like the age of 19. My parents, Bernice Adams and my stepfather, Everall, they were selling their home then. And supposedly I'm the little bright son. And they put me in there to negotiate with the realtor, Tony Williams, back then. And I knew nothing about real estate. And with the word condominium, and I'm thinking, condominium, what's that? I'm thinking condom. I mean, I'm being honest. I don't know about a condominium. Never heard that word before in Trinidad and so forth. But nonetheless, we went through the whole process. And then I said to myself, you know what? I can do that. And I went to school to get my real estate license and then start practicing real estate. That was about 1982. Then it was 1987 when the company I was working for, and they decided to, we were ERA back then, merge with the Century 21, and you had to wear the gold jacket back then, as representing Century 21. You could not go to a meeting without having a gold jacket.
Wow.
When you joined
so that was
office,
a real thing.
Yeah, when you joined an office, you had to purchase the gold jacket. I hated the gold jacket back then. So in doing so, when the broker told me, he's going to close this office and join another office, I said, the next time that happened to me, I'll have the option to open my own. And that year I went ahead and got my real estate broker's real estate license. And I'm a broker salesman as a realtor for the last 40-something years. Under that, I had through the Miami Association of Realtors, I've served, gotten awards from the Professional Standards Chair, just chaired about every committee with the association. If you join the board back then, we do orientation. I chaired that, the FHA. I went from Key West to Sarasota, representing the Miami Association of Realtors as a mediator, as an arbitrator, as an ombudsman under that umbrella. So that's a whole sect there in terms of part of who I am. Migrated that into, let's say, from the carnival part of it, get involved because...
Wait. Before we get to the carnival, I just want to say to you that, I understand the yellow jacket thing because when I joined the Air Force, right? I went and jumped on the bus my first day and I put on a yellow Air Force t-shirt, right? And as I come off the bus, the drill sergeant was like, "You look like a banana." And so I imagined.
Back in the day, when you see a realtor, we always wear the tie and the jacket and so forth that represent. Now these days, it's jeans and, it no longer, even when going to the various seminars and what have you, very rare you find a realtor wearing the jacket and so forth. It's all different right now, the transition from that. But life evolves.
Life evolves. Mr. Ragoo, I want to go right into where you were going, which is Miami Carnival.
You want to kind of cover some of the other hats I wear? Which one do you want to go into?
I want to go into Miami Carnival,
Let's
right?
start.
Because I think that the audience is primarily, I think, an audience who interacts with Carnival globally and Soca, right? So we can talk about all of the other hats that you have, but I want to make sure that we don't miss, right? You are or were a high-profile member of the Miami Carnival Association.
Correct.
Right? And you made mention from in the beginning that you got involvement in you got involved in the second year.
The second year.
From your vantage point, how is Miami Carnival doing?
Excellent.
Would the late great Selman Lewis, would he be pleased with where Miami Carnival is?
He should be. And, it's quite interesting because many of the doors that Selman walked into, many of the doors I opened the doors, but no one ever recognized because he was the face of Miami Carnival. Okay. And that's the fact. Many times when we have the launching or different things, you get all of the credit and nobody recognizes what Francis Ragoo. Hey, I'm the one that opened that door. I will give you an example of the Miami Carnival, and it shows in terms of relationship. It had 1 year we hadn't had a venue for Miami Carnival, lead it into Liberty. We were looking at the beach, different places for a venue because what happened is the folks who do the haunted house had started the Bicentennial Park from early part of October for the whole month, setting up the haunted house, which is now in Doral. And we couldn't find a venue. And I'm not going to call his name, but the lieutenant who handled through the city of Miami, which anybody doing any major stuff have to be approved by him, there was in a meeting there in his office. And they decided they are no longer going to use Bicentennial Park. They're going to go to Doral where they are now. He left them at his desk, come outside and call me on the phone and say, Francis, the folks who is Doral utilizing the Bicentennial Park, they now inform me they're going to Doral. I want you to go across there and give the first right of refusal to the trust. Left them at the table and come outside and call me. And that's what is part of in terms of relationship and when you do what's right and people have the confidence and the respect for you and who you are. This is what part of it. Okay, and that says a lot.
From your vantage point, because I know Miami Carnival. I've been here not as long as you, but I've been here for some time. I know Miami Carnival in Hialeah. I know Miami Carnival in Bicentennial Park. I know Miami Carnival on the beach. I know Miami Carnival in Homestead.
It at the Miami-Dade Community College.
No Miami Carnival,
Miami-Dade.
Miami-Dade North Campus.
Miami-Dade North Campus, Opalaka. Yeah, we had it on the beach on Collins Avenue.
Miami Carnival on the beach. Yeah. Bicentennial Park, I think I said that.
But no, Bicentennial Park and having it on Collins Avenue leading to that, I think don't remember the park that they had then. That's now condos. We had it on that.
Yes.
Ocean Drive.
Ocean Drive. In your opinion, which carnival location was the best? Miami Carnival wise.
I will give Bicentennial Park that. And I say so even though some of the most craziest experience we encountered there at the Bicentennial Park, but the fact remained there was a roadway. And whilst I'm speaking, I know to change it out, we even had Carnival at the Hard Rock Stadium, the Jarabi Stadium now, so we had it 1 year there.
Yes. I do remember that.
So that I would say...
And that was on the road too.
Yeah, that I would say was the best venue. But I recall, one of the challenges that we used to have there with the Miami Carnival, being the first to implement in the Trinidad and Tobago style or Trini style carnival was having a fee
Yeah.
to enter.
Can you say that again? What style?
Trini style
You sure?
carnival. Yes, and I say Trini style because even though carnival is throughout the Caribbean, it is based upon a Trini style carnival. New Orleans don't have the same carnival.
Trini is where?
Trinidad.
Okay.
Yes. Now Tobago have their own carnival, eh?
Yeah.
And their carnival is a little different from Trinidad carnival,
Okay.
Maybe have same ingredients, but it's a little different. So is Grenada has the carnival. It's a jab. Barbados have the crop over carnival style, but so they all have. But I'm talking about the true spirit of the Trini style carnival, embracing this community because we cannot promote our Trini style carnival as Trinidad and Tobago carnival. Is the Caribbean part of it because we need every little piece in order to fall into that in order to have a beautiful. We cannot be segmented just by the name Trini. So that Caribbean style, Caribbean carnival with a Trini flavor to it. That's how I look at it.
Well, the reason why I was kind of keyed in on the Trini style, right, and asked you, well, where Trini? What are you talking about, right? Is because it seems like people get a little bit upset when people talk about carnival, the carnival experience, and it being a Trinidad style event, right? It seems like people don't like to hear that and try to take ownership. But is it not that they try to take ownership, but trying to say that, well, we have carnival too. Does being a Trini style carnival take away from anything, or is it just stating what it is?
Only stating what it is, and you bring your own flavor to it. For example, in the Bahamas, there was a big situation there whereby adopting the Trini style carnival, and Bahamas is known for the Junkanoo, and even though they say the Junkanoo carnival to give their recognition of a Bahamian brand to it, there were still people within the whole political arena. Well, we should be doing Junkanoo, but the Junkanoo celebration is really celebrated in the Bahamas around Boxing Day. Okay, and
Christmas time.
Right. So that's it. So bring the carnival as a whole different part of the tourism aspect to it, and that's part of the whole thing. So yeah, you can brand it accordingly. Again, as I mentioned for Barbados, it's crop over with the Trini style, the soca and music and so forth. That's a Trinidad style, but you put your flavor in it to brand it according to you. If you go to Jamaica, it's known for what? For reggae. Okay? But if you go to Jamaica Carnival, thanks to Byron Lee, who started it, who get a lot of what he did. Byron Lee did not make his name as a Jamaican band playing reggae music. Okay? But he started the carnival there with the soca music to it, and when you go there to carnival, wherever you go, you expect to hear.
You said Byron Lee started the carnival in Jamaica?
Yes, he did.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was Byron Lee. He's the one started it. And now, and wherever the Trini style carnival takes place, it's a major tourism drive because, like any other genre of music, what is soca music? Okay, it's that music of love. You don't have, very rare do you hear somebody walk with some kind of weapon into a soca party. We want to drink rum, get a few wine, enjoy the music.
We ain't talking red wine, but maybe we could be talking about red.
Well, yeah, when you start off with the red wine and you take out wine on something, so that's it. That's it. But the whole freedom and the expression and so forth, that's what it's all about. And, I say that in the sense that a friend of mine who is a big-time federal bankruptcy attorney, and for Carnival, she said, Francis, the freedom. And I was surprised when another attorney told me, guess what party I went to? Stink and Dirty. Stink and Dirty, and you don't know that's an attorney, but it's the freedom of expression. I mean, that's what it is. You forget what happened yesterday, what's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah. But for this moment, we have that freedom. Think about what might happen if it is that there's not a carnival celebration. The amount of mental situation might be out there as a result of not having that expression.
Absolutely. I was going to say something, but I'll say this. I think you alluded to Biscayne being your favorite. time in Carnival.
Well, let me tell you some of the experience what you got and your thought. And coming back to that in charging for the Miami Carnival, which was like, I think, $3 we were charging them. People was of the belief that Carnival is supposed to be free.
Okay.
Yeah, no, so we faced those challenges at many times where they break down the gate, they do all kind of stuff. I remember one year it was Burning Flames coming down the boulevard, and we said that, one of the things, and that was thanks to Selman Lewis in terms of insisting that in order to participate in Miami Carnival, you must have a costume band. It couldn't be T-shirt, must have. That's really one of the things, and I'll give you a background in terms of one of the biggest band who now I'm so proud of them. And entering Bicentennial Park, and I don't remember what was the sound, but those Burning Flames followers break out just about every branch that they can find coming down Biscayne Boulevard and around the park, and they form a band with branches in their hand and challenge the gate and come through them because
this is
because you a branch, a tree branch in their hand. I mean, so the memories of those things, but the aspect of the fact that the road and then transition into the Bicentennial Park leave many memories in terms of.
I've had two guests sit in this chair. Those episodes haven't come out yet, right? But their position, one of the positions is Miami Carnival is not a carnival. And the other position is Miami Carnival ain't that good, right? Now, I asked you where is Miami Carnival, where it is today, right? And you thought that you said it was in a great position.
Yeah.
Is Miami Carnival a carnival?
Miami Carnival is the best Trini-style carnival that is held in North America. Or I can almost safely say outside of Trinidad and Tobago. It is the best. Thanks to those who are there right now.
Miami Carnival is the best carnival outside of Trinidad and Tobago.
In North America.
Okay, in North America.
In North America.
Let's qualify that.
Yes.
Even though there's no road, how important is the road, or is the road not important?
Well,
being on the road and not necessarily on a track?
Well, is a track not a road? We're not in the open.
It's a track.
Okay. Caribano is separate. I'm saying North America. I'm not putting Canada for Caribano into it. But we have to understand in the context of Miami Carnival what some of the experiences and what we don't have as a community. Okay? Let's say Cayocho. They can do the same thing on Southwest 8th Street, but that's their community. When Miami Carnival unfolds, some people lose the aspect of it that we are guests in a foreign country. We are not home. And I can tell you about behavioral patterns that put us to where we are sometimes. Two of the primary things that happens, I recall, why did they get us out of Hialeah? Because people were urinating, and did not care and respect the community that they are. We had a similar situation like that when we went to Opalaka. And you go before, and when the old lady come and say, well, the parking and so forth, and this gentleman came and was urinating facing the house rather than the street. And when she said to him, my privacy, he actually just shake him stuff there, and this is how captured. So when you have those things, basically Raul Martinez back then basically ran us out of Hialeah because of that behavior pattern. I've seen many times, and even sometimes on the challenge we face when we go doing an after report with the police department, and just about anywhere you go, you're not supposed to be consuming alcohol on the street. But people have walking down the hand and have the bottle of Hennessy and what have you, showing that open thing, and the police will say, yeah, we know that you do, but at least disguise it for us. Okay, so in respecting what the laws are and understanding that, hey, we are guests, we are not home. So we have to understand, for example, I walk into your beautiful home, your wife said to me, I don't have to take off my shoes. Okay, you walk into a house in Canada, some of those, especially the Chan, you have to take off your shoes. I have to respect your home because this is your home.
I don't know why she told you not to take off your shoes, because you should have took off your shoes.
I should have, but again, homage to you. But again, I listen to the boss. When she's not here, you are the boss.
I'll take that.
Okay, but these are the things that we have to adapt and understand, because when we stretch that envelope, sometimes make it, difficult and for continuity and to come out there, because why? We do not have a community of our own. They say, well, we have little Haiti, we have little Cuba, which Cayocho, as a Caribbean. Now, if we go into Broward County, okay, we have Miramar. Okay, Caribbean folks dominate in terms of the political side there, as for the local city council and so forth. We don't have that here, so we have to conform to what is, and we will never get to the point that us, will be in charge to say, well, you have our own community. Those days are gone. You cannot purchase any land to say pieces of land out there. So, we have to do what we have to do and make some sacrifices for the benefit of. So we're not going to get 100% like what we do, but we'll take what we have and live within the confines as far as the guideline that we conduct ourselves accordingly.
At some point, I don't know, I would say probably about 1996, 97, somewhere around there. The carnival split and became two carnivals on the same day. Broward Carnival and Miami Carnival, right? Were you involved in Miami Carnival in that time?
Well, going back to the history, the carnival was split before that.
Okay.
So you had, so when the carnival first started, which is by Desmond Worrell, the deceased, God bless his soul, he's the one that, because Western American Carnival Day Association, that's the name of the organization in New York. So Desmond Worrell, being a part of, moved down to Florida and started what we know now as the Miami Carnival. Those who were here before will say sometime in 1950-something, see something or something on 62nd Street and the start of Carnival, what have you. I don't have the history about that. I don't know. It did not transition into what we have. So I'll just speak from that aspect. I think it was not 1983 or 1984. I don't recall the exact year that Desmond Worrell started that. He was not the first president of Carnival. He was first president of the organization of where it started, because Alwyn Thomas, before the carnival even started, before they had the Carnival Day celebration, which was on 183rd Street, and I remember, I think it was Calypso Rose on the truck and so forth, they elected him over Desmond Worrell. So Desmond was the founder. Alwyn Thomas was the first president to have the carnival.
Okay.
All right. So we need to, just take it from there. So after that, and we had, back was 1988 or 89, we had a situation with the Band Leaders Association and so forth, and Wayne Lucis, the Great Master Blaster. Okay, and there we had where the split started coming from there. So it's going back to about 1989, where we had the first split in the carnival, because we had on one side, we had the band leaders decided Master Blaster as the president was going to do their own carnival through the Band Leaders Association. Then after that, we had, I'm seeing him right now, what's Tiny husband name? God, I just draw blank on that, but it'll come back to me as that president. After him, they put me as the person, and I never say I'm the president, I say acting president. And that's how we had to stop with Selman, bring Selman back into the carnival, through that, because there was, everybody always think, well, the carnival make all of this money and blah, 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 and stuff. And so they thieved that one accusation and so forth. And through that all, that's what, so the split was there. Now, before, and
but the thieving of money thing, that's in every carnival, isn't it?
You hear that, all the time, but people just don't know. They see people on the thing, but they know what their expenses to produce the carnival.
Took the briefcase and put it in your trunk.
We hear all of that. Okay, so with that now, then we went on to the split within that situation there when the Council General, Sanjay Singh, and came through that after the year. We were at the North Dade or North Miami-Dade Community College North, and I was on one side with CASFI, Carnival Association of South Florida, Inc. I'm trying to think your dad maybe was part of that at one point because he played a part in Carnival too in terms of leadership also, and
who did? Who?
Mr. Frank Collins.
Okay.
Yes, most respect, So we had that situation. Here it is, we lobbying the Council General as to which one he's going to support because we felt in terms of the endorsement of the Council General in a split situation would give more solidarity to that carnival being the surviving one because, again, we are competing for the same audience and so forth. Was Selman on one side and I'm on one side and we are going, against each other. During that part of it, we used to bring the band called the Untouchables and so forth, and that split our organization because a couple of the members went with Selman, a couple of the members stayed with me.
So Selman stayed on the Miami side, you stayed on the Broward side. Is that right?
No, I'm not getting I'm not getting the Browarders yet.
We didn't get into that yet.
No.
So
Broward was way down. Broward came into being when we had the carnival at Homestead.
Okay.
And people felt that it was too far to try come, and that's when Broward Carnival started. But we had these things going on from way back in about the third year of Miami Carnival. So we have always had, that situation. Yeah, well,
you said 86, right? Is when the first split.
No, it was more like about closer to about 88 or 89.
Okay, 88 or 89.
Yeah, so that's when the first split take place. So we went on to that, and then when after that, Mr. Carlos Lezama, God bless his soul, Carlos Lezama, the founder of Western American Carnival Day Association in New York, and we are the Golden Glades, the Howard Johnson back there. And that's when they went to Hialeah, which is Selman crew went to Hialeah. We went on the beach. And he said to me, come up to me and he pointed his finger. Young man, the next time I come back here for Miami Carnival, I don't want to see this BS, okay? I want to have one carnival and I expect you to do something about it.
Okay.
And so that took place. As a matter of fact, that was before going to Hialeah because that took place then. And then we had coming together with Olin Thomas, Ruth Vin, Babsy, Marlene Gregoire, and all of them came together. And here it is myself, Joan, Catherine, who else from the committees? I can't remember. The CAC come together and they selected me as the president. And Selman did not like that. He felt I should not have accepted it. But the reason being why, because you have a strong head of Olin Thomas on one side, you have a strong head Selman on the other side, and I was the easier person to say, okay, well, I have friends on both sides, I'm okay with everybody. So that was it. He didn't like that. Mm-hmm. And he felt I should have not accepted the post. I should have put him, but it would not have come together if it is, because we had two loggerheads of who wanted to be the real man. And that's when that took place. And that's when the first went in there. And I remember after that, that's when we formed CASFI and coming up with the Council General and so forth. And he ended up choosing going Hialeah. And
but wait a second. I'm a little confused. So we had the first split, or one of the splits.
Well, with the band leaders, the first split was the band leaders association.
89, with the band leaders association.
Yes, that's the band leaders association
and then
split.
96, 97, somewhere around there.
We come into Broward. We get in there. Because
you talked about Chan, and the Honorable Chandra Singh.
Mm-hmm. Your father's friend, best friend. I call it as it is. We good.
Listen, the Honorable Chandra Singh.
Yeah.
And his involvement.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm seeing two splits. Are you saying there's still more than
that? Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yes.
So we got to this split. So then the next split now is when?
The next split take place, after we went down to Homestead for the carnival, and the folks up in Broward who used to do Unifest, what have you, felt, well, that's too far to come, and they decide they're going to form the Broward Carnival.
Okay.
And that's how Broward Carnival came about as a result of the quote-unquote Miami Carnival going down to Homestead.
I see.
So that's how it started. So that's later on, and then I joined them. I don't recall whatever year I end up doing, because again, we had our disagreement and so forth, and went on to Broward. And then there was another opportunity for unification, and Broward and Miami come together, and that's when, we went on and have that went on, and that's where we had the Miami Broward Carnival was the name back then in terms of bridging both sides. I resigned after 25 years in 2008 from the Carnival Committee to run for office. I ran for office in the city of Miami Gardens, and
well, I wanted to ask you what made you leave, but I want to, I just want to double back on that split and the Honorable Chandra Singh's involvement in bringing together. Are you saying his involvement was the second split or the third split? Or he was involved in both?
No, because he came the year they opened the consulate here in Miami, because we never had a Trinidad and Tobago consulate in Miami until he was the first appointee.
Okay.
And even during then, where your dad was involved, because Daphne Phillips, who is she to you?
Daphne Phillips is my aunt.
Okay. God bless her soul.
Yeah.
Okay. She was the Minister of Culture under Prime Minister Pandey.
Yeah, Minister of Culture and Women's Affairs.
All right. And she had your brother and they even tried to have their own take based on but to the same fairgrounds there, we found out that when there was a situation again with Salmon there, and they said they don't want us down there now where we are right now, for whatever reasons and so forth. So you see, there has always been that, part of it where it is. But thankfully, that unification between the Miami Broward or Miami Carnival and the Broward Carnival, we are here with that now. There have been sprinklers over the last, let's say, maybe the last 3-4 years where people wanted to break out and do something in Broward and have their own carnival with aligning themselves with a couple of the bands out of Toronto. And I'm not going to call names because that is what they said to give themselves credibility. And that fall apart. So let's keep in terms of, regardless if we can agree to disagree and disagree to agree.
Yeah.
So we can do both in terms of making sure that we have to do all within our powers to make sure that there's not a split on it. Because when there's a split in the carnival, I'll tell you, it's passionate because of who we are. It created that rift between friends and family.
Absolutely.
As we started with a lot of things.
Because
so we have to do all
this
we
group
can.
say they're going up north, and this one's saying they're staying down here, and then family and friends are separate.
Yes, as a result of.
I think that the regrouping and the rejoining of the carnival was the best thing that could have ever happened.
I agree.
We have to stand in unity, I think, and stand together. And this opposition or this side and this side over here, I don't think that helps anybody.
And not at all. We have to learn to, and the sad part about everybody who wants to start something and using the Miami Carnival as the basis is that, well, I have a better idea. Well, if you have a better idea, why not share it and let's see if we can build upon it. Okay? And that's where it goes. Not because I have a better idea, I want to do my own thing. No. Because we are stronger and we are better collectively rather than individually. And we have to understand that. We have to learn to know that, let me share my idea and build about it. You might be the one that plant the seed. But if you just plant the seed only and nobody nurture that seed, it may die. Mm-hmm. Okay? So together, bring that aspect in terms of it. And we have to learn to do that on all levels of all organizations. Mm-hmm. It is inflamed more because it's carnival, but I've seen too many of, especially Trinidad type organization fall apart because people could not agree in terms of ideas, thoughts, and who get credit for what and what have you.
Yeah.
Because I think they are in it for the wrong reason
Yeah.
in order to get recognition.
Well, you talked about that, right? You talked about the fact that for a long time that you were the, for lack of better words, the backbone to some of these ideas and some of these foundational aspects of Carnival, and it didn't necessarily bother you.
No.
You just did the work.
Yeah.
Sticking in Carnival, right? Just a little bit, to bring it a little more current. You have some foundation. I think that's important in this next question I'm going to ask you, and that is this idea that Carnival is soca and should be soca alone, right? Now,
I'm not saying soca alone. So
I'm sure I didn't ask the question yet, right? So that's great. But the question is, should Carnival, right, and the Carnival Diaspora, as you said, it is a Trinidad style. These carnivals are Trinidad style carnival. Should they be soca alone, or is there room for other genres?
I'm not going to say soca alone. I will say dominated by all of the different genres of soca music, because we had calypso, we have soca, and we have the Trinidad, we have the zest, we have the bouillon, we have different. But this whole flavor is a soca style concept, based upon where you are. So I'm not going to say it should be only, okay, because, we have different flavors to it, but it's dominated by, think about a carnival, and I love all music. I love reggae music and soca music are the two music that dominates the Caribbean. Imagine going down the road with a dancehall style to a carnival and see how can you wine and ginger oils. It's not the same. So the flavor of what it is the soca music to give you that wine and jam, and rather than, respect to the reggae community, but you cannot stay 8-10 hours out there with just the reggae music, enjoying yourself, that you can hear calypso, not calypso, but soca music, all different.
So you're saying they can play one or two?
They play enough to make it reasonable, because you blend it sometime. After you prance in that hot sun, you want a little cool down, to relax a minute and slow down your walk or your gyrating or what have you. So you need that, that cool down. You could play a little softer, but the dominant music is in the line of the soca music. Is where it's at for all carnival. That's a double Trini style.
Yeah. Okay. One of my fondest memories of Miami Carnival is the convention center, right? Specifically, the Coconut Grove Convention Center. When I speak about that, I talk about how it was a Friday and a Saturday, right? And to me, it seemed like it was 10 bands a night, right? With the likes of Marshall and Colin Lucas and
Roddy
McIntosh and Atlantic and
WCK and Burning Flames.
WCK, Burning Flames, yeah.
What's my friend back from the Bahamas, their band, Obi Penguin band. I mean, we can Byron Lee.
Super Blue.
Yeah.
Right? I remember those days like yesterday. Like it's where like I became, I don't know, the guy who I am today. Right? I think it started with Convention Center. Or one of the places it started from. Right? You are the Convention Center guy, isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay. Talk to me about Convention Center, your involvement, and how it molded, I think, the carnival experience in Miami.
Okay. So the Convention Center, Coconut Grove Convention Center, started really between myself and my partner then, Carly Cruz. And as a matter of fact, my whole idea was to produce an event. And there was different situation in terms of, we didn't have like themes now. It was like you're throwing a fete. The Duville Hotel was where the Booze Taylor, Michael Lee Pack and them, because going back those days, they used to do tours. So Michael Lee Park, who was a travel agent, they will bring down the group will stay at the Duval Hotel and they have the parties there and so forth. And my idea, I wanted to produce an event taken from two things. One was the Super Bowl, and I'm saying, wait a minute. If they consider Super Bowl is going to start at, let's say, 6:35 in the evening and be prompt and manage that, why could we not do the same for an event, soca party, in terms of producing and have everything in terms of time? And the second aspect of it was I stole the concept of Brass Festival from my good friend who was the producer down there, Cliff Harris, and some of the bigger fets in Trinidad was Cliff Harris. You're looking at Army Fed, Flour Mills, and all of stuff. But I said I couldn't use the name Soca Festival for the event, so I abbreviated the word festival and call it a fest. And as a result of that, I always said to people, I'm just a country boy from Marak Village, Moruga. I knew nothing about copywriting and those things. I just was looking at a concept. So when I abbreviated the word festival and called it a fest, that was the origination of the wood fest that you see everywhere now.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, Toyota was the first one to do a commercial calling it Toyota Fest. I know you have Gospel Fest, this fest, that fest. And had I had the vision or the wisdom to copyright that word, I'd be just smiling right now somewhere back in Trinidad.
You might have given me a little bit.
You just never know. So
you're saying that you,
created
Mr. Ragoo,
yes,
is the fest guy.
Yes. As a matter of what created the convention center is New York, Brooklyn has always been the main vibe for Miami Carnival.
Okay.
Still is up to this day.
Yeah.
Okay. And our competition, again, I said, was Deauville. So what I decided to do, WLIB, which was the Caribbean urban station in New York, bring them to broadcast live from the convention center back into New York. That's with Bob Fredericks and Ian the Goose Allegar. Back in the day from those on Trinidad. He's still into the radio right now. Claude Tate and them, and bring them here and broadcast live. So that created the whole vibe. And I recall Byron Lee sitting in his studio over in Doral because Mervyn Ali, who live up in Orlando, he used to do Byron Lee on the weekend before, the Friday in Tampa, the Saturday in Orlando. And we're looking, because we had no internet, we didn't have cell phones. So wherever you can get that promotion is where you're going. And we follow Byron Lee up there to Tampa and tell him, please, we have a little announcement and so forth. Tell we have fast food soca because we have 5 and 6 bands over at the convention center. And the following year, we sat there in his studio, and he said, Francis, let me tell you something, man. I have to give all the respect to you. He say, when we come down last year in the Deauville, we went and rehearsed, and we see the amount of people there. He said, yes, tonight going to be a good night. He said, by the time they come down to play, the place was empty. Only here in convention center, taxis go convention center.
No, well, convention center was the place to be.
Where he think he was the next year. Convention center. That's the year we stole. I would say we stole Marshall. Marshall was playing there for about, back in the day, $5,000 or $6,000. We offered $15,000, double what he was getting there to come with us. And in so doing, we gave Bert, and you'll remember that. Remember Flag Fest?
Yeah.
Okay. So Marlon, God bless him, Trini South Boys and Butterfuko, and they used to be doing a $10 party over on Biscayne down there. And when we took Marshall, we didn't want to have Marshall on a static then, both Friday and Saturday. So we tell them, you all use Friday, use a Marshall on the Friday. We will settle up in terms of proration costs, after that. So they get to build a fete without having to put out no money. They bring Marshall and they pay him before the event. We settle up in the middle of the week after and we prorate, this is the band fee, this is the proration you have to share for the airline, the hotel, blah, blah, blah. And that built Flag Fete over a couple of years was the best Friday night, even We stopped doing the Friday night.
Well, that's what I was going to say. After Convention Center.
Not after convention. We stick on the Saturday, and Flag Fest was ruling on the Friday.
Yeah, but you had it on the Friday and Saturday.
We had it on Friday and Saturday, yes. And then we stuck with the Saturday night only because, and that the difference then, and we were the only one to have a party starting 10 p.m. at night and go till 10 a.m. on the Sunday morning. Those were the days after, and you look at sometimes 6 or 7 o'clock burning flames going on there, and you swear to God that it was maybe 10, 11 o'clock at night. And
Still ram
out.
Yeah.
Still ram out. Was some of the best times.
Talk to me about... I am tracking a number of things I want to talk to you about.
Let's go with it.
In this order, right? I want to talk about the difference between then and today, right? Bringing all these bands and being a marquee event, right? I also want to talk to you and in defense of the artists, local artists, and local DJs during Miami Carnival, right? And the lack of usage of these guys. Right? So those are two things I want to talk about. So let's start with them days of Convention Center. And band and big vibes and big party. And then today, where it seems that you ain't getting no band and, it's just not the same. What's the difference?
Okay. So back in the day, you had the two, after the Duvel, you had two major events. You had We at the Convention Center, and you had McLeod over at Studio 183 up there, and that was more like what we consider, quote unquote, rather than the Eastern Caribbean, we say that a small island party. But we had a great relationship with Mr. McLeod. I always say, in terms of collaborating and working with any promoter, that was the best person that I ever encountered, because we had some history in the business that will leave us, shocking in terms of dependent on, not dependent, but collaborating others in different situations. But we are not going there. So at the convention center, my concept was, because the whole idea of what you see really, it is in terms of my vision in terms of. So we used to look up from Trinidad. If you weren't there as any DJ, soca artist, soca band in the Caribbean, be it from Dominica with WCK, be it from Antigua with Burning Flames, be it from Barbados with Crossfire, Square One. I think there was two other bands, some that I don't recall the names. We go to O.V. Pingdom, which was the Prime Minister of Bahamas' son, with his band. Come, of course, Trinidad, even Byron Lee. So what we look at is that the idea was, with me, is wherever you come from, you must feel that you are at home here. And not only in the convention center, but that was a concept in terms of the whole, what did the convention center means to the success of Miami Carnival, because people come down here to have a good time, and because many people, even though we have that going today, this is the furthest way south that they could have gotten, because they did not have their, documented, as we put it. And I say that, I remember one time whilst we were promoting out in Washington, and they had a Jamaican crew used to come down here to sell the flags and so forth. So I told him, I said, we have the fete in Toronto, because we did event in Toronto also. And he say, Bass, me not cross the border. Me not cross the border. And I knew exactly what he mean. He couldn't come to Toronto as selling his merchandise because he can't go out. And that is what the convention center meant, and Miami Carnival, is that we have the best spirit of it. And again, the whole aspect. Now, we were never the biggest. Still today, we are not.
But the vibe was the biggest.
The vibe was, and the perception of, because, for example, we just came out of Labor Day, last weekend or what have you, and again, we produced one of the largest events, out there. and you have, million people on the parkway. The biggest bands you have on Labor Day is not Trini. The Haitians, Sac Passe.
Sac Passe, tout haïtien yo.
Yeah. That's the biggest. I only see it. And what I like about Labor Day is that it gives empowerment to our Caribbean strength. If we could only bring that into voting power, it'll be something different. But we're not going to go there because of the whole conversation.
Now, we might get there, but I want you to talk about...
I want to stick with that for a little second, if you don't mind. But what Labor Day does is that it showcases our power of the Caribbean as a people, but it does not showcase the costume part of that mass. That's where Miami come in. And again, I'll give credit to Mr. Lewis because he insists it was T-shirt. And let me just touch on that for 1 second, because One Island, Rudy Jarvis. Rudy Jarvis, when the first start playing down here, was a T-shirt band in Broward, because Broward Carnival allowed that because they never had the situation to say was really a major impact on Miami Carnival, except splitting the people. But they had the volume of Miami Carnival has always been the bigger of any other carnival that's birthed. And Rudy said to me, Ragoo, man, I want to play my ass with you all, but again, those are the rules. And I said to Rudy, listen, why don't you take a T-shirt and decorate that T-shirt, okay, and make it like a costume part in order to this. And with that now, I can say, yes, we have designed it and, make it into a costume. And that's how he came into Miami Carnival. And I'm so proud that he has elevated the quality, almost mirrors what Peter Minshall does, used to do, in fact, back in the day in Trinidad Carnival with the whole display and everything. Has really raised the band. As a result of what One Island do, I see all of the other smaller bands has elevating the quality. And when I say Miami Carnival is the best that we have in North America, I speak for because I've been there.
Are they elevating, we're deviating from my question, but did they elevate mass or they elevated the experience? And I think that's two different things, because mass is the only mass where I know, right? As we talked about bending wire and glue and putting mass together. Did they elevate that too, or is it the experience? Because I know the One Island experience is an experience. They have the biggest shock and brightest colors, right? And the most energy, biggest amount of people. But mass, is that the same?
Well, it based upon what you consider the same. For example, when we started, and again, that was my intro as a mass band organizer, the mass camp was at my house. Okay, and as a whole, you had the Untouchables, you had Jeanette Spence, and major players came out of Pet and Pest. You had Larade and so forth with, I don't remember the name of the band. But the good thing is to be here is that we are making, and boy, I want to tell a glue stick. Even though we are competing in it, I could say, hey, Jeanette, you all have 2 glue stick, let me get some now. And we had that kind of unity amongst that making and so forth. So that, and you never used to have, well, of course, we had less bands then, but you're looking from maybe 2 months or thereabout before the carnival. Every Sunday, you could go to a band luncheon, somebody have a backyard, something, Ruby had, she wash your foot on something out there under the big tree, and so forth. Always had that vibe leading into the carnival. Okay, that aspect is not there anymore. So if you're going back and say, well, you're the bended on the what, you still have that. But let's look in terms of what the Mecca has. How many of those do you see that everything now, China is important and everything is coming in from there? So in terms of evolving, that's the evolvement of where we are going.
Yeah, well, it's evolving into a Brazilian style carnival and not a Trinidad style.
No, it is not evolving into a Brazilian style.
What is it?
Okay, it's still the Trini style. Now, because Brazil is different. Okay, completely different. They do the samba and they dance.
No, of course. I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the production of mass. Right. Once upon a time, and I mean it still happens today, but not on the same level. Once upon a time, mass was a story. Right. I mean, depicting a story. Right. right? So you go to a band launch, and the organizer, the band launch, or the mass leader is going to talk about, we are depicting
They still have that.
butterflies.
Yeah.
Yes, they do, right? But the costume itself, right, looks like the same costume everyone else is doing, right? Yet there's still people who have held on to the story aspect, right? But the mass itself, right? In my day, and I guess maybe I'm dating myself, but in my day, this mass band did not look like that mass band, right? And these feathers didn't look like those feathers. So that's why I said I'm probably gonna get hit about this Brazilian influence, but I find it to be a little bit too much of that.
Well, you have that aspect of it, but one of the things, because I know some conservative people who are my friends, that they felt that is too much clothing. And that's the reason why, let's say, Peter Minshall concept of carnival, for those who want clothing on, that's where they go. The younger folks, is like a bikini and bra and less than that. Does it change the concept? Yeah. But that's life.
But we talked
That's
about
life.
the importance of history and the importance of why we're doing what we're doing. And why we're doing what we're doing involves a story.
The storyline is still there. But your concept of what is, for example, when the first band that we, under the St. Lucia Association, was called Popular in Splendor and was Butterflies.
Yeah.
And then the second year, I think we do something with bananas, and that's a history by itself, because my house then was on a lake, and they had the banana plants on the other side of the lake, and we take a boat, go get the bananas, and have it outside of my house. They had to decorate our truck there for the Carnival Sunday. Those guys came, stole all of the bananas, and went and cooked the banana. So when we get up there, all we had is the leaf and no banana, because they stole the banana. So, I mean, you laugh after the fact, but we were pissed, because that was supposed to... So that, and then you tell your story based on now, your aspect of it may not be as generic to what it actually is, but you give your... what's the word I'm looking for? It's not authentic in terms of your narration of what you're playing. You can look at this and call this, well, this is a Zulu. Somebody might look at the same thing and call it different, and you build it on something else.
Absolutely.
Okay, but that aspect of the costuming, they still mention, hence the reason why when they got on the stage, they will tell him, you have to tell what they're displaying and what have.
Yeah, but the costumes don't depict that.
It does not depict that. Period. And that aspect, that does not say it is not mass. That does not say it is not Trini style, because what incorporate and what make carnival a Trini style carnival is certainly not the costume only. That's an aspect of it. So we have to put all the ingredients. It's like, hey.
Yeah, but it's a huge aspect of it, right? Because mass is short for masquerade.
Yes.
Right? And this French influence of the masquerade ball involved in the depiction of slave masters and them doing their mass, right? And so it's just a little personal to me. I don't mean to be worked up about it, but I'm saying that it's a huge part of Carnival, right? And to just throw it away because, well, we just want to wear our feathers. I think it's okay, but you should know where this thing come from.
You're lucky if you have feathers on. Because I always say that if I was a mass player, and I played mass maybe about 2 or 3 times over the how many years of involvement, and especially from the woman, how much can you do with a panty and a bra?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line to it. Okay. And you can still take that panty and a bra and travel from here, any carnival, Trinidad style carnival, and you can fit into some band and say, I played it that bad. So that's just what it is.
I think it's because we've lost the essence and we've lost the meaning. And this is what we talked about earlier when I said to you, like, the history of the thing needs to come forward. Like, you can depict carnival however you want it, but you should also know, at least from my vantage point, you should also know a little bit of the history, right? I want to pivot a little bit because time And
I got all night. I don't know how much time you got.
Yeah, it's the battery life is what we're talking about,
Okay.
right? But I brought it up already, and I'm gonna bring it back. Is I understand that Miami Carnival, foundationally, is supported by New York, right? Brooklyn specific, right? However, I feel like during this period, or all throughout this time, the Miami DJs, right, and the Miami artists are not supported enough, right? There's some, but they're not put forward, right? The Miami DJs. Why is that? Why can't we support our entertainers more?
Well, how many do we have? And the whole aspect is investment and return on the investment. So you have to look in terms of where the draw is. And I can tell you, going back, let's say for the convention center, let's speak from the DJ aspect. Mixmaster Roderick. Okay, he was my foundation DJ. He was the one that used to set the schedule for the different DJs. A couple of the DJs have made their name and got big natural freaks. Back to basic, which is Ricardo. Hey, hang in there, my brother. You're going to make it. Ricardo Gomez, who is Roderick's cousin, he's the one, hey, my cousin in New York wanting to, and so forth. And he got the story from there. And other DJs, Tony Tempo, and different ones, come out, in terms of making. And similarly, with a lot of the soca artists, that if you weren't there, you were not considered. Now, let's look in terms of the local way of transition. You have DJs that is doing great, and I cannot speak, I'm not going to put down anybody. Maestro has always been there. Okay, so now, where are we? You look at DJs and you try to say, okay, well, you cannot have an investment and don't promote. But ain't nobody coming out there and saying, well, hey, give them a flyer, they ain't promoting it, they ain't doing no stuff. So what? And when you hire, they will not even share. And that's some personal experience I can speak about. Will not even share the flyer on their social.
Are you saying to me that the reason why Miami DJs are not invested in our Miami Carnival is because they're not promoting the event?
I would not say for our event. I'm not speaking about because what is driven from back into the convention center, and I had to share that in New York. We are not a DJ event. We are always been on artists.
Sure.
Artists. And the expense part of it, so whoever open get the length playing time. In between, whilst we are changing over from band to band or artists of where DJs get the play. So we don't necessarily depend on the DJs to drive the party, because there are parties, the Private Ryan parties and all sort of those, which the price in comparison to what we charge us for what we bring to the table and what they charge us only a DJ, some of their tickets are more expensive than us. Okay, but that's the whole aspect. So we're not DJ driven. So we're going to leave that aside. It's based upon artists and coming out there.
Yeah, but I'm asking you. I'm asking you about not necessarily your events, right? I'm speaking to the whole from a holistic perspective of Miami Carnival and the lack of support for Miami-based DJs.
Let's stick with the DJs before we go to the artists. We want to deal with one aspect.
Sure.
I cannot speak about other promoters in terms of what they do.
Okay.
And I really couldn't answer that. I can only speak in terms from where I sit, in terms of what Francis Ragoo, my partner, Derek Ragonat and Carl De Cruz, what we do around the carnival time. It's primarily artist-driven and not DJ-driven.
Okay.
So that aspect. Now let's speak in terms of the local artists. Okay. With the exception of, and going back, as I mentioned to you earlier prior to we going live, Shaggy. Okay. Mr. Livingston, when he called me and say, I have this artist that I want to get some exposure there, can you accommodate him at the convention center? All we want is hotel room to stay. We put him up in the hotel up in Golden Glades. and Shaggy perform at the convention center for free, just to get the exposure. The next year, when it wasn't me, when I would not even get a return phone call, but it's the exposure opportunities that you get. Rupee, Michael Agard, who was the manager of Crossfire Dan, when he said to me, Francis, we have an artist coming out of Barbados that, we want to give him some exposure. Can we bring him up and so forth? And he's not going to charge you just one day exposure. That's when he come out with Jump. And perform that days we're doing Friday, Saturday, and then the Monday on the beach. Okay? And Rupee performed for free. At the end of that time, I gave him $1,000. He was so elated because he didn't expect the money. But again, I said, because of those days, the money was not, our ticket price was $10 and $20 and so forth. So we pay according to what the market was, and he was so happy for that. And we still do that in terms of promoting and giving exposure to help build. We have a Grenadian artist, Porsche. We have, several artists give the exposure. And there, how many artists, local artists do we have that I can say, okay, I know as a soca artist, I know Sizwe doing his thing. But if I have a party and it's Sizwe alone, can I get the success that we want? Or let me know one who have breakthrough from here that did not get the opportunity. I don't know. You're the only one I know doing your thing, as a soca artist in down here. Help me understand if there's a second one. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a few. And I think that's the problem. And I'm just pushing back a little bit, not to be combative, but to say that there are a few artists in South Florida who are catching hell.
Like who? I don't know. I don't know who they are.
I could tell you like Classic. Classic is probably the biggest soca artist out of South Florida right now. The Father. There are a few artists in South Florida who may not be the biggest artists, right? But they are definitely trying to do something in the space. And I find that we miss them. Like we just, whether it's Miami Carnival, I think Miami Carnival tried to do like a opening stage, right? But
put it this way, and let me say this. They miss us. And I would say that they miss us in the sense that if you are a thriving artist, okay, and knowing who are the biggest promoter of artists when coming to Miami Carnival for the last 30-something years, okay, I've been involved. And I don't know who they are. They ever reach. It's not my responsibility to reach out to you. You have a responsibility to reach out to me and say, hey, listen, I'm upcoming. Just like old Livingston, manager of Shaggy.
I think you're wrong.
No, hold on. Let me finish.
Sure.
I'm going to bring you to some of the artists that we give exposure to because I don't know you exist, but you know that I exist over the years, and you have never said, hey, Ragoo, this is who I am because Porsche have, and if you see her performance, she performed.
I know Porsche.
Right. Okay. They reach out, and I'll tell you, they hit me for about almost a year because when you're producing and there's only so much time that you have in order to get, because the artists of today, okay, from the time they get one hit, they large. Okay, they large. It is business class or first class. It's the whole thing, and then my time. Okay, they have to get X amount of time. And well, it's like, hey, without them, we are getting the crowd and so forth. So when they're coming down to give, but here it is, we gave her the opportunity. And there are several other artists that coming up from some of the islands that they reach out. Okay, but the local artists here, Sizwe, you have that marketing. You have that responsibility that if I want to get myself out there, okay, you have to reach out to those who are doing the producing of the events. Can I open them? Because I don't know them, but I'm pretty sure if they're wrong, they're doing the history, they know. I exist.
I agree with that, but I don't think it's a one-way street, right? And I think that that you as a promoter, not necessarily Mr. Ragoo, but the promoter also has to have a pulse of what's going on in the industry.
How do I know if you do not promote yourself?
Well, maybe you are not involved as much as you think you are, right? Maybe you need to do a little bit more work, right? Instead of being in your bubble and saying, I put on this party, and if you want to be a part of this situation, well, you had to call me. I think that doesn't help.
That's not my intent. What I'm saying is, if you plant a tree in the forest, am I supposed to know that you plant that tree in that forest? What I'm saying, I don't, because I'm always on the lookout to see who is doing what in the community.
Yeah, but you are the forest.
Yeah.
And so because you are the forest, right, and I plant a tree in the forest, right, every now and then you should explore the forest. You should be taking a look to see, what's out there. And I'm not saying that you don't, and I'm not saying that others don't. I'm specifically speaking about Miami Carnival, right, and the situation around the carnival. Because when I look at from this seat, and I'm not that involved, but when I look at like Labor Day, right, I see their local artists performing.
Where?
Right? In New York, right? In their parties, right? Okay. When I look at Caribana, right, and only because I'm in the community, when I look at Caribana, I see their local artists performing, right? Now you might say, Sizwe, well, or we might argue that, well, who reached out to who, right? That might be part of the conversation that I'm not aware of, right? But when I look here in Miami, as it relates to DJs and artists, it's very much you're on your own.
Well, I cannot speak, I'm not going to speak for DJs, but I'll go back in the fact that from the artist part, you say New York. The biggest party in New York for the last, 5 years has been us. I sent you the video there of last week. Okay.
You did.
Okay. So you see that crowd. Tell me from the carnival, we had the stage that they have. We lend them some of the artists there because again, those who want to reach out and we kind of put everybody on the stage. So we try to get, because in order to get your work permit and so forth, you have to be, out there, and we do. So some of them is there only for the sake so they can use that as part of their portfolio in order to continuity of their work permit. But when you say that the local artists, now there are some local artists that come out of New York that we give the opportunity. The Lyrical, is one. You had Jason Ben back in the day, and a couple others I don't recall. Okay, but in terms of bread artists coming out and wanting that thing, if you decide, okay, well, you come out today and I write a song and the song I'm looking at overall, okay? It's just like if we go back, and that's why I said you have that responsibility. What's our youth name there? I'm coming there. That's crazy. R&B, not R&B, but rapper. Kardashian, Kanye West. Okay? He will tell you that he was selling the records out of the trunk of his car and then reach out to because he knows who is doing what. He reach out to them to give him the opportunity. Okay? I cannot sit here and looking at all over the Caribbean in terms of who bring in there and looking in terms of, okay, this one just, for example, who is going to be here in Miami Carnival, who was the first show in terms of New York, Carla Bushman, Grease It, Black Adan, Michael Tasha get it for Lady Lava. Okay, get the first opportunity with us. Nyla Blackman, first time come, because you're looking to see who is doing what and give them the opportunity. The local person, okay, if you are doing, I know you. I never heard class. I don't know classics. I don't know who he is, where he is.
But that's my
not my
point.
responsibility. He knows who I am.
But that's my point, right? When we talk about classic, because classic, right?
Who is he really? Tell me about what this
okay, I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah.
Because classic, classic has the biggest record in soca today. The biggest.
What is it?
Right? Dancer. Right? The biggest record today is Dancer. At least in my opinion. Other people might say
so
Lady Lava.
Young Brother is not.
I find classic record is bigger than Young Brother record.
Okay.
Right? It's just my opinion.
Okay.
And maybe because classic is also my friend.
Okay.
Right? But it's undeniable that it's 1, 2, and 3. Like it's not just like it's not that far apart, right? And for you, and I'm not assailing you.
No, come with me.
Right?
Come with me.
For you not to know who Classic is, right, is problematic. And I'm especially that Classic is a Miami-based soca artist.
I've never, okay? I mean, we don't have the parties as we used to be because really and truly, the majority of the parties that take place, Orlando have more artist exposure than we have in Miami, continuously during the year. I don't know where Classic have performed to hear a song. We don't have, going back in the day that you had the Mike Andrews on the radio that we can listen to the radio.
Yes.
Okay. So how do you know out there who is doing what? Is Classic on some out there promoting on social media and promoting himself? Is he out there? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it's not my responsibility. You see, if I want to get a green card, you know, I go to immigration. You want to get the exposure. You have to reach out to those who are doing the, hey, listen, I heard who you are. I am so-and-so, and introduce yourself to those who are doing what it is that you wanting to do.
I hear that.
And if you do not do that, then I don't know you exist.
I hear that, but
you have done that. You performed for us before.
You showed me much love.
Yeah, and you reached out. Leon Caldero, when Leon Caldero was living here in Florida, give him that opportunity before he moved up to Orlando. So I'm saying,
I just want to make this point, right? And that because you brought up the green card, I think it speaks to the lack of young folks involved in the carnival, carnival committee, and the agencies that promote these events, right? Because again, and I'm not trying to suck up to Classic or to hold his bags for him, right? But he definitely is without doubt.
Okay, let me share
the hottest
working person.
Hottest. One of the biggest upcoming artists it have in the diaspora today.
I'm glad to hear that, but let me tell you into what he needs to do. Okay. There is one or two of the DJs or the radio personalities on WAFS that play some soca in between. Have you reached out to them as what you'll do and send them a demo so you can play the sound? Okay. People has to know that he exists and he has that responsibility to put himself out there to be heard because we do not have, again, a Mike Andrew. We don't have the clubs that are featured to know where, well, you went to, so he started from here. So how do one know? You know that this is what I want to do as a person. Okay. And I know that this is out there. You have the other Mikey Mike station. Go out there, meet them, let them listen to your music so people can get the air for what you do. It is not the radio station responsibility. They will come out there when they hear it from, but you have to hear it from somewhere first.
Remember, this conversation is about Miami-based artists.
I am not dealing with the carnival. I'm speaking as a promoter. I'm speaking as a promoter with artists, and I'm saying
speaking to that as well. And I'm saying that we're speaking about Miami-based artists and them having the opportunity, and me saying I find that those opportunities are not enough, right? And an example of that are these other artists, with the exception of maybe Posh. I know her as Mauricia. I've been tracking her for probably the last 20 years. I know who Mauricia is. As a matter of fact, I have a dub plate from Mauricia for Be Aggressive.
She's been around for 20 years, for real?
Shout out to Mauricia. Mauricia's been around for a very long time.
Okay.
Right? Mauricia's been around since, at the very least, 2007, 8, somewhere around there. Right? Okay. And she's been trying to do her thing. Yeah. She has a record called, one of her biggest records is called Aggressive, Be Aggressive. Right? So shout out to Mauricia. I think that she's adorable. And she's worked very hard and she's trying her thing.
Okay, so let's agree to this because I think we stay too long in that part of it. You know, so let's move on to other part into that we can really talk about in terms of it. But that's something as a person you have to understand that you have to reach out. There's like as big as a celebrity that they are, when they coming out to the movie, they make the circuit to let the world know that I exist. So just share that with them.
Yeah,
they have to get
I
they have to get out there to let people know that I exist.
I think that's true.
Yeah, and that's the part, because I cannot focus here on, hey, how many Trinidadians live here, how many Caribbean soca people live here, and focus on that. They have to get out there and know the people who are in the game that have been there for a long time, because I'll tell you something. In this business, how many artists will tell you that, boy, I performed to that person, never get paid, get promised. So you have to know who is doing what, do your research, reach out to them and say, hey, but I'm willing to come out, can you give me the opportunity? Let you be heard, because my responsibility is not to find out where you are and what you do, but if you reach out to me and I'm aware of what it's to see, can we fit you in here to give you that opportunity so others can hear? Because I'm proud to sit back and say, you know what, this one get his foundation to start and look at where he is right now. Very proud to do that, but I cannot look back there and with everything else that you're doing in order to focus, well, hey, that person out there. I would love to hear classic music.
Yeah, I respect that.
I would love to hear what he's saying.
I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect your position.
Yeah.
I won't fight you on that. I hope that now that I've brought out this particular individual's name, that there might be an opportunity for him for Miami Carnival. With your event.
There will be an opportunity for Sizwe in our event, and I'm going to leave it because our plate is full with artists, but I'm going to create an opportunity for you this year.
Thank you.
You know, to be at Soca. This is one fete for Miami Carnival.
Well, we definitely appreciate that.
I'll create, but we don't have the room for others, and I don't know them, and we cannot wait to put, 1,000 people and say, hey, we have to see you, see how you perform, how you interact, and be that. So if there's a place that these artists are performing that we can see, analyze, and what have you, because at the end of the day, okay, when you make that investment, and I can tell you, well, should I?
Whether or not I don't know whether or not he's putting himself out there enough for the likes of people like you to know him. But I do think that let me put it to me, right? I feel like I have an obligation to know that this artist come in and that artist come in, because I'm always looking. Now, I don't promote any parties, but I think it's important for me as an artist to know, all right, who come in, what they're doing, who they are, where they're located, right? So that outside of what they do podcasts, but just so that I'm aware. And I find that in Miami specifically, and this is why I brought it up as a Miami problem, not necessarily a promotion problem, but there's this lack of respect, from my vantage point, for Miami-based entertainers. I grouped the DJs and the artists together to say, like, well, what the hell? So this is kind of what I was kind of talking about.
But
specifically
I think
this Miami thing.
I would suggest, we do our thing, let's say 2 or 3 times for the year, but there are other promoters in the soca industry, and I always speak for the soca because the reggae have their own thing going continuous and they get the support.
Yeah.
That maybe artists coming out, tell her, hey, they're promoting something. We have the Marlon Johnson, the Clam Elder, and they who do things, the boat, what have you.
Sure.
Get out there and say, give me a blind, come on there, and just so people get to know and hear the people talking about it, because it must have that groundswell there. And maybe in that way, it might have gotten to me that this gentleman is from Miami. I love this. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. But I never know he's here. But at the same time, we cannot accommodate everybody.
Sure.
So we have to pick in terms of who are the driving force that will give us that return, because I'll tell you, it is not cheap.
Yeah.
It is not cheap.
I get it.
Okay. I sometimes hold my tongue in terms of saying where it's going, and I think some of them are cutting their own throat. There's only a few major soca artists that can pay for themselves and pay you. As big as the claim that they are, what's your draw? When your cost to have you is less than the people you bring, because that's what you have to look at in terms of, okay, what my investment will return. I said to you for example, coming out of New York, okay, how many of our promoters can say, myself, Carly Cruz, right, that we have a production cost for a little over $500,000 before we can see $1? How much people can you bring to make that offset that cost?
Heard.
See, people don't know what goes on in the business.
Heard.
You know, and that's the part of it. I mean, and we not, you don't see me out there blah blah. I'm a humble person behind observing and seeing what can build. So you never know that. But I'm not good. It's a different category of promotion.
Yeah.
In terms of what we do, in terms of that, and people don't know. And I sometimes bite my tongue in terms of what I see that is not healthy. Okay, because here it is, and I know Clem kind of alluded to some of that.
Yeah.
In terms of, but
I never had was to tell.
There's a difference in terms of what he does and what we do in terms of 400 or 500 people in a promotion
magnitude.
opposed to needing 4,000 or 5,000 people just to break even.
Yeah.
Okay, but if we don't do it, who does? Think about back in the day if we did not make those investments to the conventions and what it costs to go in. When you have to pay X amount of dollars, $100,000 for a venue and so forth, people don't know. They look at Miami Carnival and say, oh, it's all this and that. They don't know the cost in terms of producing Miami Carnival.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are the things that when you don't know, okay, don't make assumption and say, well, because at the end of the day, I'm just using classic, not in any derogatory manner.
Yeah.
Okay, but we have to measure. If I was to put classic out there, but first of all, if I put you out there by yourself, how many people can you bring? Because that's what I used to look at in terms of the convention center. Hence the reason I look, okay, from Barbados, I can pull this. I'll go WCK, I can pull that. I can go Bahamas, I can pull this. And we're looking in terms of, hey, I love Callaloo. But if the ingredient is the Callaloo bush, the bush by itself does not make Callaloo. You just boil the bush. You have to put everything in else to give it the flavor that you're looking for.
I get it.
And it's that flavor in terms of what's going to make the product.
I get it.
Out there. And this is the aspect in terms of where you're looking at where to draw. The biggest names out there right now, I say Marshall is still up there. But most time that Kes go up against Marshall, he beat Marshall in terms of numbers.
Yeah.
But what's the cost to have a Marshall? What's the cost to have a Kes? What's the cost to have the Vikings? And people don't know what those numbers are. And of the three of them, not all of them pull the numbers.
Yeah, I get it.
That's part of
I
the
don't mean
business.
to have come at you.
No. We have to speak about it.
Right?
We
have
to speak about that aspect of it, because I'll tell you, it is the. I can only speak my truth.
Sure.
So the artists you listen out there, think about it, what you are doing. Not because you have a hit song today. And I'll always give Iowa George, okay, that. Iowa back in the day, and you want to charge $10,000, that back in the day for $10,000, very few of them was $10,000 now. And you say, you know what? Give me $3,000. I'll get you a thing. You come by Sizwe. And he may hit today. Now, as a promoter, I could make a return with Iowa paying him $3,000. I don't care if you go by you because I figure it reasonable. But when they want a whole post that, hey, it's $10,000, then you're responsible for the hotel, you're responsible for the ground transportation, you're responsible for ground transportation, the back line, and now on the average, it's between $100 and $150 for per diem that you have to pay them, okay, US. Okay? And I'm not going to call his name. But here it is, we have an artist staying in a hotel in Broward. And I don't remember if it's a Wendy's or Burger King across the street. And we pay you $150 US for per diem, but I catch you with a bag coming out of there.
That's not your business.
No, I had to laugh and tell it, wait. When the Burger King task, you understand, and you're pricing yourself out of, because at the end of the day, we as the major promoters spend the money And if I put $500,000 out there in anything else, I'm looking at this a 20% return on my investment.
At least.
And I cannot guarantee that as big as you are, I'm going to get your money because you add on all of these costs onto what it is.
Sure.
Okay, because now you're traveling not only the person, they have the video man, they have the manager, they have a DJ, you know, and this, so you are hurting yourself because only few, there's not another soca promoter in South Florida, okay, that undertake the expense that the three of us do. None. If so, name me one. Nobody. Okay, out of them. We might have coming out of Canada, New York, and join together and do. There's none. Okay, but we as promoters have to be able to live also because we have to get a return on your investment.
Of course, I'm not denying that. I think I was just specifically trying to speak to Miami-based entertainers and their opportunities for them to do their thing too.
Well, right? I'm glad you said that because you see, some things you have to speak about, and that's why I don't take it as any. Because we're talking, right?
Yeah, sure.
We home, we family. We can talk about anything,
absolutely.
agree, disagree. But some things that you need to say it out there. And I'm hoping that some of them pick it up and you know who you are.
Yeah.
Be considerate of those who have given you the opportunity because you cannot promote yourself, you know, and do it out on this side of Trinidad. Yeah. And when you're in Trinidad, you know, you are okay. I go to some of these parties in Trinidad and when I go backstage and I see, you know, as a hospitality, you give me a box with one piece of chicken and so forth. And that's your event. Okay? But when it come up here as a whole different thing, be considerate. Yeah. So that's why I'm not mad at you. I'm glad you opened that door to give me the speak up because I don't comment on social media in terms of what I see. I just laugh and say, you don't know what they're talking about, blah, 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 and leave it like that. I don't get involved because I'm, you know, maybe some people just knowing who is Francis Ragoo, and I can tell when I first came into the business, I just say where they get the Ragoo from, and I hear people talking, oh, that Ragoo and that Indian man and Selman Lewis and blah, 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 and all kind of nonsense. And they didn't know I'm Francis Ragoo, but they're looking for that Indian. You know? So sometimes speak about what they don't know. It's like, for example, whilst in New York, and I went to this party. Well, that's a party they had they call it Taco Tuesday, and a bunch of folks get together and so forth, and raise up Miami Carnival. And they not knowing my involvement and so forth because I will defend Miami Carnival at all time. I'm not on the committee from 2008, but I'll defend Miami Carnival. And the lady say, you're going to Miami? Oh, I ain't going to Miami Carnival because they just move parties overnight and so forth. And they started going, and when she's gone, I said, wait a minute, which parties move overnight? Okay. We cannot move a party overnight when we have to pull permits. We have to go through all that stuff. When you go to these fly-by-night, because and this is part of when the convention center closed, you know, you have somebody who claimed that they're a promoter out of New York coming down here, and they come down here, hey, you know, since we have a nice backyard, we go have a party here. They don't know that there's a noise ordinance that you cannot have beyond that.
You can't have a party here. You can't have a party here.
But you get my vibe. So they come now without knowing that you have to get a fire approval, you have to get zoning approval to sell alcohol, you have to get police and so forth. And when on the 11th hour when that mark bus, they can't have the party, and you're carrying on like that. That's the reason. So they speak of ignorance without the experience. And when they try to label Miami Carnival, I will defend the current committee. Okay. They crucified Jesus Christ. Okay. So I'll always say, regardless of what you do, and that's my concept about life. I know we are diverted, but I always say, if there are 100 people sitting in this room here right now, and somebody dropped from the sky that no one ever see them, never heard them, don't know anything, there are 5 to 10% of that 100 people not going to like that person, hate them, call all this, and they don't know anything about that. Okay? So what I do is to put in that 5 to 10%. Let me focus on the 95. Okay? Because there's none of us perfect.
Yeah.
But I always say two things. There's a difference between critiquing and criticizing. I don't mind being critiqued because I always want to know. Okay? I want to know, don't tell me, well, it's good. I want to know what is bad so I can improve to make me a better person or better what I do for the next time.
Sure.
That's a critique.
Sure.
Give me an option, says I like what you but this part here. Have you ever considered so and so? It gives me an option. If I do the best that I can, that's what I know. So if you're going to criticize me and say, Ragoo, you shouldn't do that. So, well, how should I do? Well, that's what you're there for.
Yeah.
Don't criticize me
Yeah.
if you cannot, because if I do the best that I can, and my best may not be to the level of your best, but I've done the best. Tell me how can I be better. Don't tell me what I do wrong without offering me how can I do right. Because you're not helping. So I will put you in your lane and you stay in that 5%. You stay there because you're not helping me.
Sure.
But if you come and give me that constructive criticism for consideration, I know I can open up my ear to see how to learn, because I want to be the best that I can be, but I cannot do it alone. Because if I don't know that I'm wrong, I'm thinking that I'm right. And I will never be right all the time. But I'm willing, if it's a mistake and you take it personal, I will say, hey, I'm sorry, because that was not my intent.
Yeah.
My intent is to try to do good at every day, but my good might cross somebody as bad. And in so doing, I welcome being critiqued. I welcome being told so I can learn and I can be the better person. Because when I get up from the day, that's all that I'm looking for. To make a difference in somebody's life, that I can put a smile on a face for somebody.
All right, listen. 2 things I want to talk about before we get up out of here, right? One is I want a list. I want you to rank this list or just identify who you think. I'll give it to you. Master Blaster, Maestro, Roderick, Warren the Iceman, Dorenzo, and who else? Last one. That's 5. What do those names mean to you?
Yeah, let me start from Maestro. Just about his 70th. It's different DJs for different things you want to do. If I have in a dance, one thing I'll tell you, Maestro, when I'm out there in the dance and you have any kind of formal, Maestro is the DJ you want. If you see me on the floor, he know what my song is. And you see me dance with somebody, he know what to drop right there. So Maestro will be number 1 in that category.
All right.
Now, if I do an effect, is Maestro going to be my number 1 DJ? Honestly, I will say no, because that.
But we're talking about in their time.
I'm speaking currently
today.
right now.
All right, so now.
I will not put Maestro as a DJ in my fete.
Yeah.
But if I'm having a gala, if I'm having a dance, if there's a formal event that somebody say, want a DJ to play for your wedding, that's my number 1 person.
Roderick.
If it's Roderick is a little more versatile. Roderick, and anytime we talk about Roderick, we have to give homage to his son. God bless his
Steely
soul.
back.
Yeah, God bless his soul, Steely back. Okay, I've seen him come up from a young man.
Absolutely.
Okay, Roderick could balance, in terms of, I said, he was the anchor DJ at the convention center and do the schedule for my DJs and so forth.
Master Blaster.
The great one. God
Great
bless
one.
his soul. Yes. Different time, going back, and if we, I'm surprised you didn't ask me about Talking Fingers, one of the foundation DJs from back in the day. Gregoire, so different times, different DJs, different purpose. I was the Iceman, and he was the local Ronnie McIntosh with the raincoat and so forth. I mean, so everybody have their fit in, different times, different occasions. Dorenzo. And Dorenzo silently is doing his thing. And I say silently doing his thing. When I go to any of the Wilkie D. Ferguson Bar Association, the Black Bar Association, who you think is my DJ? Dorenzo. Again, so different occasion. He is there in that corporate world doing his thing out there, So everyone fit in where they fit in and be a good
house arrest.
House arrest, yes. Being out there, we have, he played, was it in Hollywood? So we do it house arrest and so forth. Everybody have their place that you fit.
Yeah.
And we use them, eternal vibes.
I was going to say last on this list is a is a two-part list,
Giselle
which is going to be Giselle Uwasiwan
and Eternal Vibes.
Eternal Vibes.
And we must give credit from them and Giselle being the youngest band leader in Miami Carnival. I don't know if you're aware of that, but she is on Holden, and she and Eternal Vibes have made a tandem that really, I would say, maybe being the first, as we call it, selector with a DJ. Is Giselle doing her thing? I think, because that was not, having a selector was really a reggae thing, or, that part, not a soca thing. That's now awesome. Just about every, now it's every, a lot of the soca DJs now have that, selector there, and so forth. But I think Giselle, and to my knowledge, it's just an eternal vibe that really started that trend in the soca industry, going back.
Awesome. Last thing I want to talk about as we wrap this up is kind of bring it back to Francis Ragoo. You ran for office, I think twice.
Yes.
And I had just for your information, I had Papa Keith on. And we talked about his running for commissioner. And although he ran, he wasn't successful. You in those two times weren't successful. What did you learn, and how do we move forward?
Well, why I run and what do I do? I run out for office to elevate the platform for which I do several things outside of the music industry. As I mentioned to you, some of the hats that I currently wear, I am the president of the Miami Gardens Neighborhood Watch, Inc., which I have 11 crime prevention and neighborhood watch under my belt. If you look at Channel 6, as I said, you saw the interview relative to the young lady who got killed and so forth, and that part, and we are helping her along. I'll talk about that if you give me a minute to do so. I'm the president of the Miami Gardens AARP Chapter 5132, president of UPPAC, Unrepresented People Positive Action Council. And what we do, that's the foundation of which the city of Miami Gardens was birthed. Prior to the pandemic, for 7 years, we take 2 busloads of residents up to Tallahassee. I go through over 2,000 bills being preferred by our 120 state legislators and our 40 senators, and decide, okay, what we support, what we don't support, and prepare a position paper that we go out there and lobby, our senators and our state legislators for bills that they're bringing forward for the state. So that's 1, 2, 3. I, for about 7 years, was the parliamentarian for the Miami-Dade Democratic Party. And I did not seek that out. They sought me out.
Okay.
And kick up. And then finally I said, you know what, I'm going to give in. And these are all of our Democratic legislators. Trini was the chair then, and, people recommend me. And after a while, given the ARP, I said, these old people, it's like, Francis, so you're not going to do it because you had the president of vice, and for about a year and some, they keep knocking me down, until, what else? I represent District 1 for the Miami-Dade County School, about $1.2 billion bond. I'm the District 1 representative. We had our meeting today, on the advisory board. So many things that we have, as I mentioned to you, and for those who are listening, if you ever go into Jackson Hospital and you get that package marked Jackson Cares, that is something that came from Francis Ragoo. Okay? When you had, through our same UPPAC, which we will meet in our 38th year this year, in terms of meeting every Saturday morning, when the nurses said that it takes between 24 to 36 hours in order to bed a patient, and myself and Commissioner Ferguson met with Carlos Magoya out at Jackson North and suggested to him, that, and I suggested, in fact, why don't we create a hospitality area and call it Jackson Care, so you can give comfort to the patients whilst they wait, and primarily that of their relative that is provided that comfort for that 36 hours. And he said, I like that idea. And next thing, I get a letter from Ryan, who was one of his staff members, that Mr. Magoya is going to implement the idea. So you see, Jackson Cares, that's Francis Ragoo idea that is out there that I didn't get paid for it. So don't look at me and say what's up. I didn't get paid. I just
All
smile
good.
and say, hey, they pay for consultants, $1 million, and Francis Ragoo get a letter saying we're going to implement your idea. And that's several things behind the scene. But when people see me, I am not a blah blah mouth. You wouldn't know if you don't. Even back in the day, convention center, you would not know it's me because you don't see me running on stage and trying to take thing.
credit.
Because my thing about it is that you must not feel my weight. Okay, I must be able to carry you. Okay, and that's where for all the organization that I will do the work and give them the credit because without them, there is no me.
Sure.
But some people rule from different that they want to say, I am the boss and I'm the boss and everything. And no, that's not Francis Ragoo. You will not know that I'm the person in charge. You'll think, but I listen and I always keep my ear listening because I want to know what you're thinking out there of what I am involved in without knowing that I am involved.
Sure.
So in that way, again, it's always looking to improve. I want to touch a little in terms of that family that lost their life. The mom lost their life last week, Monday. I was in New York then when I get the call from one of the neighborhood watch organizers and said, Francis, did you hear about the woman that got killed? I said, no, I did not know. And reached out to say, well, what can we do? And in so doing, set a call. My officer contact Officer Thibault. Hey, can I get the phone number for the person? Well, she said, Francis, I cannot give that. Speak to our assistant chief, who I know, Chief Nagy. So, and tell him, well, there's an active investigation going on right now, Francis, but I really don't have the information. I'll get back to you. Call the representative council person from the area, Dr. Powell, and then she shared with me the information and so forth. With that being said, this morning, met with the family and, recognized, again, Jamaican immigrants, peaceful woman. This happened about 400 feet from the house that she lived. Okay.
She was mauled by some dogs.
By 7 dogs.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to have them on my UPAC forum on Saturday because we need to raise some money in order to offset the cost that they're going to ship the body back to Jamaica.
Okay.
Today they had a vigil tonight at 6 o'clock. I make sure I go and purchase items I'm not going to do because I'm not doing it to say, well, Francis, do this, because that's why I don't speak about myself. I don't know all the things I do behind the scene, but, here it is. And I said to her and the family, and that's from the platform which we operate there, is that when one family member are hurt, we all feel the pain. And we have to come together to ease that for everyone. And that's part of the community involvement, and that's a part of what I do. You don't have to know Francis Ragoo did this. Okay? The Betty T. Ferguson complex, as I mentioned, to how it got the name. It got the name because of Francis Ragoo. But you would not know that because I'm not there. And this is how many years now? I think maybe 20 years. You would not know that because I don't blah, blah, blah. Let the body of my work speak for itself. And I enjoy people saying and I sit in the back and just listen because it's not about the likes. I don't do it for the likes. I do it because sometimes it's the right thing to do and something going to make a difference. And if I can make a difference in one person's life, okay, I am good.
Yeah.
Because I know for where I came from. Okay, and that's where it's at. I stay humble and level-headed.
Mr. Ragoo, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your contribution to the community. I want to thank you for all the work that you've done, although sometimes it's not elevated to the eyes of the people. The fact that it's being done is what's important, right? I want to also thank you for coming onto the show, onto the platform. Some of it kind of felt a little rushed. Because there was so much to talk about, And so that just means that maybe you'll come back and we can explore some of these topics a little further. I implore you to to continue the work that you've been doing. I think there's a space, especially in the Caribbean diaspora, for what it is that you do with entertainment, with music, with culture. Right? Keep your ears to the ground, let's build. I want to be a part of your team. I want to give back to the community as much as I can. And as I said to Papa Keith, as I said to Marlon Hill, I'm available in any way to give back to the community. Right? So again, I just want to say thank you for coming to What They Do, a place where we get to talk about community efforts. We talk about entertainment, music, culture for the Caribbean diaspora.
And I'm happy. And as I said to you, I'm so proud of what you were doing. But I love and I hope this continue to be. And not only what they do, but at some point, we're going to transition into what you do. And I say you in terms of our professionals out here that are doing, that we don't know that this person, might be a urologist or this, whatever, and give a platform to them so people, we can circle amongst ourselves because we know, what, this is so and so that is doing this. Sizwe is doing this. So we as a community, can support each other. But we cannot do that if we don't know that you exist in terms of what you do, because you never knew that I do all of this.
Sure.
And I'm thankful for you giving me the opportunity.
Yeah.
To speak on. And we just touched on the iceberg. I haven't gone in. The tip of the, well, we haven't touched on so many other things out there. But how many of them know that, you exist? You start the business out there. I know I don't know this one doing that. You go to somebody only to know that this person that you know all for the years never knew, because we do not have that opportunity to explore and let each other know there so we can support each other. And I'm thankful for what you're doing. Continue to do it.
Thank you.
And at your behest, bring me back, because we need to talk on politics as we go into 2026.
There's no question.
Okay.
And I didn't bring up the politics because
that's a whole different
it'll take us for another hour.
But we need to talk about that.
Sure.
What's coming, what we need to do. Because election have consequence, and we get who we vote for.
Absolutely.
Okay, and we have to be mindful. And I will close with this, because tonight I said in one of the meetings prior to coming down here, and the police department was speaking about human trafficking and domestic violence. And as I said, it saddened me that we sit here and speaking about domestic violence, and here we have a president that is saying that if a man and a woman have a tiff between them, it should not be criminality in terms of domestic violence. So you as the president is setting the precedent for propagating what is wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, and that is something that, we have to talk about, but we get who we vote for.
Yeah.
Okay, and we need to talk about that, and we need to mobilize our community. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. You make your choice in terms of what you want, but we have to understand, because many of us, and that's part of the part, when I run for office, it's like, boy, me and voting, me taking part in this kind of thing, but you live by the consequence of what you did not do. By a no vote is a vote for somebody else that you did not do. And we have to
no vote is still a vote.
It's still a vote, and we need to talk about that. I'm happy to come in those, and maybe as we go forward, because in terms of that, and I probably can bring some of the guests, because we do on our forum there with the UPAC, all of the judges that run for office, the county judges, is the county, I can't remember the different levels of judges that we have. Bring them even behind the South. Bring them, let's talk. Because the Caribbean people, you have to understand that we are a powerhouse as a Caribbean vote. And utilize that platform, because they don't know how many people listening to this. They don't know how many people, but utilizing this as an opportunity.
Sure.
So in going to the vote, you know who it is. And I'll be happy to help to bring some of those guests here so that you can ask them the difficult question. Why should we vote for you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Tell me why.
Absolutely.
Okay, what have you done? Don't tell me what you are going to do.
Yeah, what have you done?
Okay, what have you done to make me believe that you're the better person than somebody who, because guess what? Those are the one that sometimes the corporate fall behind and is going to do what is not supportive of you. I mean, let's look in terms of, I'm sorry we're on beyond.
Yeah, no. This is why we have to bring you back. Right? So again, Mr. Ragoo, Francis, I feel I could even call you Uncle Francis because I've known you for so long.
Yes.
I want to say thank you. And we'll bring you back and we'll talk about some of the things that are hard-hitting, community-involved aspects of life and move forward in that area, right? So for what they do, I want to say, like, subscribe, follow, share, all those things, right? Once again, it's your friend Sizwe. This is Mr. Ragoo, and this is what they do. What they do.
what they do, and we will follow what you do. Thank you again.
Yeah, man.